Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? So it looks like I triggered a lot of very sensitive atheists. Weird. If I wasn't talking about you, if you're not the kind of atheist I was describing, then why are you raising your hand and replying to me? And if you are the kind of atheist that I was talking about, why can't you address any of the inconsistencies and the incoherence that I pointed out? Some people tried and failed. Nowhere did I say all atheists are like this. So back the fuck up off me with your bullshit. Here's another inconsistency, incoherence of a lot of atheists. They say our brain evolved to be this way, our morality evolved, our thought processes have evolved, we're in a constant state of evolving, right? Thus, these materialistic atheists also believe that we are determined, right, by these external forces outside of us. In other words, we have no free will. And they say that's what they exactly believe. But in order to believe or not believe in having free will is required. And none of you live your life saying, thinking, believing that criminals shouldn't go to prison. So you do believe in free will, and your worldview is incoherent and inconsistent. But if this doesn't apply to you and you are an atheist, why are you getting butthurt? Richard Dawkins, what a brilliant man, says that, well, in order for human traits, characteristics, things about our societies or us as individuals, in order for them to have stood the test of time and still exist, for example, they are most likely beneficial to us in some way or another, or at the very least, not detrimental, neutral. And yet, even though the whole world is religious and religion has ruled the entire planet for millennia, he says religion is one of humanity's biggest mistakes, greatest evils, one of the worst things that ever happened to us. Right? Inco-fucking-herent. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Not talk about it because it makes you butthurt? Stop trying to bully me. Make sense or get the fuck out. Anyway, they say that I'm related to this thing over here. I'm not. No, I'm not, but you can be. Go right ahead. You can be. Anyway, allegedly, we as humans are have a lot of the same DNA as great apes. Our DNA is very similar, right? So we're grouped together. I don't have a problem with that. We're all very similar creatures. Fair enough. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and when it comes to these animals living in the wild, it's a little bit difficult to find their lifespan. There's no real standardized test, or there's no website that compares their lifespans using all the same criteria, right? So there's a lot of conflicting information out there. But when you look at putting these animals in captivity where we can monitor them and, we're removing natural predators, chimpanzees, for example, have a lot of natural predators, orangutans, fewer, and they've been known to fend themselves off from predators. I don't think there's anything that preys on the gorilla, right? So for what I'm about to talk about, that complicates things. But if we take those factors out of the context of the lifespan of these animals, and we look at them in the zoos, chimpanzees blow all the other ape species out of the water as far as their longevity goes. So, assuming that they feed them as natural of a diet as possible in zoos, which is, well, their job, right? That's what they're supposed to do. They study these animals in the wild and they feed them their natural diet in zoos, right? Right. So I think it's safe to assume that if we took out all the predators out of these animals' natural environment and we compare them unbiasedly and under the same criteria, we would also find out that chimpanzees live the longest because in a more controlled environment like the zoo, they live significantly longer than all these other apes. You know what else is significant about the chimpanzee? It eats more meat than the gorilla or the orangutan. So, the biggest meat eater out of the great apes, not including the human, is the chimpanzee, and the chimpanzee lives the longest. Even though they're not carnivores like human beings, well, at least some human beings. I have to keep an open mind, I guess. But indigenous tribes that have not been touched by civilization and they are the apex predator in their environment, they live even longer than the chimpanzee and they eat even more meat. So, since we're all related and we're all basically the same, it would appear that those of us that eat the most meat also live the longest. Imagine that. Thanks for listening.